Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. This is the last video of Fallon from Moss Family TV's Fall Food Friday collaboration, which is exciting. I've seen so many recipes, I can't wait to try some of them. But today I am making, yet again, another pork recipe. I have a bunch of roasts in my freezer that need to go. So I'm going to be cooking in the Instant Pot a pork butt roast that I have. It's a butcher box roast, it's about 5 pounds. And if you get confused by cut names like I do, I looked it up and it also is called sometimes the Boston butt, and it is not the rear end of the pig. It is actually the shoulder for some reason. So there you go. And there are two. There are bone-in and boneless. I actually have both in my freezer, and the one that I grabbed was just boneless. So like I said, this is an Instant Pot recipe. I don't have a printable recipe because this is just something that I kind of just do in the fall. So I'll list everything that I'm using below. The time for your roast, which is the most important part, is going to be high pressure, 15 minutes for every pound that your roast is. Like I said, mine is 5, so I'm going to do an hour and 15 minutes. And then just let it hang out. It's probably gonna hang out there for about a half hour till I get dinner and everything else ready. And this recipe could not be simpler. It's just a few ingredients. It comes together really, really quick, and it's delicious. So let me flip you around and we'll get started. Okay, so here is my setup that I'm using. Like I said, super simple. I have my Instant Pot. It's heating on the saute mode. Here is my 5-cut roast. I have some salt and pepper over here, a little bit of avocado oil. I have a cup of apple cider, and then here, which looks very freezer burned, is some frozen diced carrots and frozen onions. I buy them in bulk from Costco, use my veggie chopper, chop them all up and put them in the freezer, so I don't have to do this every single time. So I have those just hanging out here. I find when I do things in the Instant Pot, doing this huge piece of meat is kind of a little tricky, so I like to cut it up, sometimes even to 3 big chunks. But I'm thinking I should be fine with 2. And I think I'm actually going to quarter this big piece here. I did notice it has a really large fat cap, so I'm not going to mess with it. I'm going to leave it for its roasting time, and then when it comes out and I shred it, I can just pull that out. And then for the juices, I'm going to put it in a fat separator anyway, so I'll just leave it at this point. And then I guess I'll just cut this one in quarters as well. I'm going to be putting this in the Instant Pot fat side down, so I'm just going to take a paper towel and I'm just going to blot the top just to get some moisture off so I can get a good sear. My Instant Pot says hot, wonderful. I'm probably going to just do 2 of these at a time. And I'm just looking for color on the fat cap, to be honest. I just want some fond in the pan for the veggies, but that's it. I'm not going to bother doing all of them. And I'm going to go ahead and salt and pepper this top side. And then as they're in the Instant Pot, I'll season the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and put about a tablespoon of oil in here. And I'm just going to let that sit for like 5 minutes just to get some color on that side. So this is probably the most tedious process. Everything else is hands off. Okay, so we're back. This took a really long time. If I ever really want to go for color on my meat, I don't do it in an Instant Pot like this. I do it on the stove in the cast iron. In my opinion, this just never gets hot enough to really sear meat, in my worthless opinion. But I did get a lot of really good flavor going on in the pot, so I don't need any more grease. I'm going to add those carrots and onions. I'm going to add a little bit more salt and pepper. So nothing fancy, too fancy here. I'm not even really trying to cook the vegetables. I really want to just scrape up all those brown bits from the bottom of the pan from the meat. And that's exactly what my vegetables are doing right now. So, like I said, that was going to take no time at all. I'm going to go ahead and add my cup of apple cider. Give that a quick little mix. And then I'm going to nestle all this meat right on top. I'm not even going to bother with the rack. You certainly can if you want to, but I'm just going to let the vegetables kind of suspend it off the bottom of the pan a little bit. Sometimes you really have to play Tetris to kind of get them in there. But as you can see, they're all in there. They're not submerged by any means, but they do have enough liquid in there so you don't get that burn notice. So I'm gonna put the lid on. We're gonna put it, for make sure it's not unventing, that it's definitely on sealing. And like I said, 15 minutes high pressure for every pound. My roast was just shy of 5 pounds, so I'm gonna do 1 hour and 15 minutes. I'll do cancel, manual, mine's already on high pressure. So I'm just gonna let that do its thing, and when it's done, I'm still gonna let it do its thing. It's only 3:30. I don't plan on eating till probably 5:30, so it will sit there in natural pressure release for about 30 minutes. You don't have to do that, in my opinion. I think the more it sits in here, the better it tastes. So we'll be back in 2 hours. Okay, so it's been a while, and I have it sitting here for about 20 minutes. The pressure already released on its own. So I'm gonna open it up. And this is a lot of meat, so I think what I'm gonna do is we're gonna do half this roast for dinner tonight, and I'm gonna shred all of it. And then the other half I'm going to freeze, and we're gonna have at some point in the future for pulled pork sandwiches. I think that's what we're gonna do. So let's see if this is ready to shred. Oh my gosh, I can barely get it out of the Instant Pot. It's just falling apart. This is gonna be perfect. This is exactly what you want. And then I'm not quite ready for dinner, so I'm gonna go ahead and put this wonderful liquid through a gravy separator. I'm gonna separate the fat, put it back in the Instant Pot, and kind of use this to keep it warm while I make the rest of the sides. So I don't know if that will pick up the angle, but there is quite a bit of fat in here that you don't want in your sauce, especially with all that fat cap that was on top. So I'm just going to drain the liquid back into the Instant Pot, and I'm gonna leave the fat out. Okay, so I think that's it. I did get quite, like I said, I don't even want to show it to you, but I did get a lot of fat and just some weird parts that we're not shredding, but that's okay. I still have a lot of meat, and I'm just gonna assess how much we have after dinner tonight, and the rest I'll just freeze, and then we'll have that for another meal. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this back in the Instant Pot. Let it just hang out till we're ready to have dinner. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I will leave a link to the recipe and all the details that I did for this boneless pork butt roast in the Instant Pot. I will leave a link to Moss Family TV if you want to check out other videos by Fallon. If you do make this recipe, leave me a comment below. I'd love to see how it goes. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you next time. Thanks, bye.